Critics are arguably the single most despised group of people in the game community for a lot of very different reasons. Some people believe that game enjoyment is subjective, therefore making criticism irrelevant, while others will say that the only score that matters is the audience score. Some other geniuses, however, think game critics are paid up by the woke mind virus to turn all gamers gay and transgender. Not naming any names. You see, all these people are total fucking idiots. With this video I want to evaluate just why game critics are fundamentally broken.
Girl, I know you want this.
Whenever you watch a review from an outlet such as IGN, GameSpot or Game Informer, oh shit, Game Informer shut down. You likely have no clue who the person criticizing the game is or what their standards are. Outlets have a large roster of reviewers, each with their personal preferences, and yet, when you go in the profile, it doesn't tell you anything about these biases. In some places, the name of the reviewer isn't even mentioned alongside the score, so critics basically write the reviews under the name of a company rather than themselves. There is no consistency in the type of games they review either, meaning the score is a complete coin toss depending on who's playing the game. At the same time, you can't exclusively review games in genres or franchises you're experienced with, because your perspective will differ from the reviewer's target audience still contemplating whether to buy the game or not. Ideally, you should be able to have a strong understanding of who the critic is, what their preferences are, how harsh the reviews are, and then compare that to your own taste to judge the value of their opinion. But instead, what do gaming outlets do? They throw out all sense of personality and subjective opinion, leading to boring, watered down, safe objective reviews that end up being completely fucking useless and indistinguishable from each other.
Flash sales reduce the price of items and stars.
With the new Turbo Dice item, you can move up to 40 spaces with a lucky roll. Here on Goomba Lagoon,
Shifting water levels open and close branching paths, potentially leaving you stranded.
speed trials, a battle of wits, and more.
Jamboree's brand new Pro rules completely reinvent the way Mario Party is played.
9 out of 10. Fuck this shit. Now remember when I said that Game Informer got shut down? Yeah, they're part of GameStop, a publicly traded company, who laid the entire team off and proceeded to delete every single article from the website because they weren't making enough money. IGN is a subsidiary of Ziff Davis, who also own Eurogamer, Digital Foundry, PG 24/7 and Rock Paper Shotgun. Now, if you for some reason don't know this already, publicly traded companies are fucking evil.
This is confirmation that you are part of the unlucky group who are having their contract terminated with immediate effect on the grounds of staffing redundancy.
Your main goal as a company has now shifted from making good quality content to increasing some satanic motherfuckers' profits. And how do you increase your profits as a gaming outlet? You play into the social media algorithm to stay relevant. This applies to every single thing an outlet publishes, including reviews. Scores are determined by the quality of the game, of course, but also by the engagement it brings to the company and corporation as a whole. Because employees are so underpaid and overworked, gaming outlets are notorious for publishing poorly researched content and in some cases just straight up rage bait and misinformation to maximize clicks, which is fucking unacceptable for platforms with such a massive reach. On top of all this, outlets have to stay in the gaming industry's good side because such a large part of the revenue is reliant on early access kits as well as preview events and exclusive content. This doesn't mean the review scores explicitly bribed or anything, but that VIP experience definitely means the reviewer is gonna go a bit easier on the game. Imagine your studio works on a game for almost a decade with a budget of over $100 million. Then, right before launch, IGN puts out a review calling the game bad and proceeds to say the studio is run by dumb apes in front of millions of people. Yeah, I wanna send him a review copy from the next game either. This pressure, along with tight deadlines, is what drives critics to score nearly every single big budget game an 8 out of 10 or higher, which implies that the game is great or even amazing. I know rating scales differ a lot from person to person, but holy shit are games being treated like the fucking elementary schoolers of the entertainment industry. Look at this shit. A 74 for a video game is considered a mixed score on Metacritic, whereas for movies, TV and music, a 61 is considered generally favorable. What the fuck? Let me show you guys how to fix this system real quick. Boom, there you go. Way better. Anything 5 out of 10 or below shouldn't even be considered a video game. That shit is going into the shadow realm. I also like what this guy says.
By clumping all your scores in the top half of your scale, you're losing a lot of your ability to talk about actually good movies. Because just like not all bad movies are bad to the same degree, there's a huge range of quality in good movies and your scale should be set up to reflect that.
So, right now we have lack of individuality, long-term engagement and industry influence as main factors pressuring critics to put out shitty restrained reviews. But there is one more very important factor that I haven't really mentioned throughout this entire video, and it's you. Gamers are an interesting species of human. They need videos like this to form their opinion for them. There are people who will write off a game like Baldur's Gate 3 because of their bigotry. Some gamers believe Son of Frontiers is a masterpiece, others will tell you that The Last of Us 2 isn't. A lot of them will now get mad at me for saying that. This is about you. So often I see people disagreeing with reviews before the game is even fucking out yet. Why Eurogamer always got the most dog shit reviews? Whoever reviewed this should be banned from reviewing games. I was worried reading this review, but it's the only negative one I've seen. Wait. This guy's not mad at all. Cut him out the video. The heck is this review? Your analysis is lawful and respectable, but credibility is zero. What a nonsense text. Did a PlayStation fan review this game? I don't know. You tell me. LOL, IGN gave it a 9. Alright, well let's take a look at some IGN comments. Is it because I didn't talk to you guys like children? If IGN doesn't like it, then it must be good. Remember folks, to give Dragon Age a 9. Didn't you give Sticker Star an 8? Remember that these guys gave Sticker Star a fucking 9? Isn't even the same guy. Nope. The worst part is critics actually have to account for these morons. Cyberpunk 2077 was straight up unplayable at launch to the point it got pulled off the fucking PlayStation Store. And that shit got away with a 9 out of 10 from IGN. Because gamers would kill them if they went any lower. But look, now that game is actually out and the audience knows it's fucking broken, IGN is suddenly willing to put out another review absolutely trashing the ever living shit out of the game and giving it a 4 out of 10. Which remember, on their rating scale isn't even a video game. As a critic, you cannot win with the audience because the audience simply doesn't know what they want. A lot of people believe there's a right and wrong answer for the game reviews, but because entertainment is inherently subjective, it's pointless to argue about the final score. What people, and critics by the way, need to know is that what separates a good critic from a bad critic is whether they can make a convincing argument that even someone who disagrees can see the logic in, not a score that shows up for like 3 seconds at the end of the review. That number should mean absolutely nothing. So, you might be wondering, you know, cool video and everything, but what's your solution, you know? I don't fucking know. Anything that would improve review quality from outlets isn't in the best interest of at least one large stakeholder. Give the critics some personality to make reviews more entertaining? Nope. Longer deadlines so critics have time to actually beat the game and formulate their thoughts on it? Nuh-uh. Harsher reviews with proper integrity? Don't even bring that dumbass shit up to me. Go watch independent critics instead.